All right, all right. Welcome back. Welcome back. Let's see what's going on here. All right, just give me one more second. We're just gonna quickly go through everything. I won't even comment on it, to be honest with you. I just need to know what's going on. La, 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 la. One more second here. All right. So the equal weighted S&P was trying to push higher, is falling back, not back into structure yet. Definitely the dividend is continuing to weaken. The VIX is starting to pop again. Right, had a pop, came back, now it's starting to push higher. Uh, New York Stock Exchange is coming back, still not back in structure. Dow Jones is still weak. S&P is not heading in the right direction. Now this is valid for now. Okay, so this is not good for the markets overall. Nasdaq is trying to hold above the previous resistance area. Uh, Small caps are breaking finally the wedge. Not good. Not good. Okay. Transportations are starting to weaken even further. IPO is pushing higher. The fangs are coming back into structure, trying to hold above it. Very deep pullback today for the volatility I'm talking about, not necessarily overall. Um, Europe closed the gap. Nothing in UK. Germany is still trying to hold above the trend line, the resistance that became support now. You see, that's kind of like the theme so far, right? Forget about Denmark. These people are crazy. They're off to the moon. World Stock Market Index is pushing higher. Jets are going lower. My little indicator is going sideways towards the bottom. China is doing fine. CQQQ is pushing higher. That's fine. Nifty pushing higher. Japan towards the low end, maybe breaking here. Taiwan has broken down now. Still in an uptrend, but broken down. Korea sideways. Saudi pulling back again. See, it's the same story. Trying to hold that trend line. Australia fell back into it deep. Now it's at support. That could break. Brazil, not much there. Emerging markets, nothing. BRICS, nothing. Okay, real estate came back into structure. No follow through. That's very bad. That's not good. Uh, Miserable failure for financials. The pure banking ETF is breaking down. Oil, I don't know if that's going to hold up there. Australia. Gold, wave three, right? It's kind of pulling back there. Silver is holding okay. Commodities overall pushing higher. Base metals, thing. All right, palladium trying to break through. No follow through so far. Copper's doing fine. Sorry. Agriculture starting to push. Sugarcane pulling back. Corn did a nice little pop there. Let's see that. Wheat holding. Soybeans pushing. Forget about nat gas. Bitcoin is nothing. Litecoin, nothing. Ethereum testing the previous high. Ripple in a flag. Dollar is bouncing a little bit more from this morning. Mm, a weird kind of flag. We should mark this. A little funky, but it's a flag nonetheless. It's a much smaller flag than the previous ones, right? So, nonetheless, it is a flag. Dollar, Japanese yen pushing lower. Fucking turkey, man. How embarrassing. All right, here it is. Canadian dollar. We said this is going to break out, right? So keep an eye on this one. This one could run into the close. Usually forex pairs, they start to die off in the last hour. Be aware of that. But next week, I think we should see a follow through. Australian dollar is doing good. New Zealand dollar is fine. We're still waiting for the dollar to strengthen against the one. And nothing there. 10-year pushing out through. Yeah, see that? See that? Structure above a structure. I think at some point next week we're going to see this one push through. All right. Pulling back aggregate. Yeah, see, a little conflicting there. Junk bonds are starting to break down through time. Tips pushing higher. Let me make this clear, please. This tip versus the 10-year. When the tips are going higher, it's supposed to signal inflation or whatever. Look, it's inflation monetary. You're not going to see it in the CPI. You won't see in the CPI, which is the headline. It's what we all use, what the government looks at, blah, blah, blah. It has nothing to do with that. It has to do with the dollar devaluation. Okay? You're not going to see headline CPI increase with so many people unemployed, wages suppressed. You can pump in trillions. I don't care what you do. Take M2 to the moon. You're not going to see it. Okay? And the reason you're not going to see it is because the money is going to flow. Let me fix this. Because remember, the money that is being printed and given by the Fed is going to go through household income to savings, profit savings, and into asset classes. Okay, so the more that you print, you're not gonna get those dollars stuck in the productive economy to produce inflation. And when you're exporting, right, when you're exporting dollars to the rest of the world because you're importing, well, that's deflationary as well. So in both cases, you're going to end up with very low inflation to disinflation. All right. So what the tips are telling you is that relative to the dollar, okay, the dollar's falling. So they're saying, oh, there's monetary inflation. So we're measuring that inflation here where it really exists. Okay. So I'm telling you there's going to be inflation. If we get inflation in the real productive economy, we're screwed. We're screwed because they're going to have to cut spending. They're going to have to push interest rates higher. That's going to stop money flowing into the productive economy. So that's not the kind of inflation they're talking about. Remember, inflation is a multifaceted word. It means a whole lot of things. But we're not talking about that kind of inflation. Please understand that. All right. Hello, Alessandro. Good evening, my friend. I'm just kind of going through my stuff here real quick so I know what the message of the market is. Oh, look at that, huh? Google's falling out of bed. All right. So what's happening right now, from what I see, is that it cannot follow through. Obviously. The next thing we're seeing is that it's starting to pull back to these support areas. Pretty much what the NDX is doing. It's trying to hold this support area here. If this comes back into structure, that's not good. All right, it's not good. Now we left off at around 11ish, 11:30, right, with this move here, and we said wait for the hook, take it to the long side, and sure enough, that did happen, right? So then we ended up with this structure here, correcting, came back up, tested that previous resistance area, and we know that this is where point of control was for today. Okay, and then started to fall apart. You get this H pattern, which is a follow through to the downside. For the move of today, it's about 1.6%, and this is the most important trend line. It must hold against right here. This is the previous high. This is the trend line. Right in here has to hold. If it doesn't, if it starts to come back in here, then that's not good at all. Not good at all. Because from failed moves comes fast moves in the opposite direction, right? And you got to be aware of that. You can't take those kind of risks. I mean, sometimes you can, but you don't want to take those kind of risks. So let's get rid of everything. Kind of clean things up here a little bit. So this is the new trend line. All right. All right. So this area in here, let me get rid of this for a second. So this area in here is where the void was, right? This whole area in here. And then you're starting to come into that 70% right in here, right? That's the 70%. So perhaps a little bit lower. Perhaps a little bit lower, and then we should start seeing a bounce. For the bulls, that's what you want to see. But again, this is a very key area, and you don't want it to go too far into this. Now, obviously, tonight is that shutdown, that government shutdown. Are they going to pass something? They're not going to pass something. It's that stupid bullshit. Um, they cut off the briefings for Biden for some reason again today. You know. All right, so we're coming into this void here. Let's see how it behaves. Let me kind of mark this for a second so I can zoom in. All right, so this is how much it can drop. About 0.21%. All right. Dow Jones false breakout, quick move down in the S&P. Dow Jones is holding for now. VIX had a deep pullback after this wedgie formation. Right now it's bouncing back up. It's not towards the high, even though it's lower. Even though it's lower, it's not towards the highs. You're going to see a bounce, I think, because we're at key areas all over, anywhere you look today. The only exception is even Google, I guess. Let's look at the fangs. See, this is a key area. It's got to hold here, right? And then it bounces. Point of control is all the way down here at 5,384. Now, Google is down 1 point, not Google, FANGs are down 1.54, while the Nasdaq is down half that, 0.73. S&P is down 0.75. Dow Jones down 0.75. New York Stock Exchange down 0.66, and transportations they're breaking down. That's not good for that, right? You don't want that to break down. Transportations are weakening. The only one that's up is IPO. Small caps are flat, but they did break down from the structure. Right. To be honest with you, I kind of suspected that would happen, but whatever. It took a lot longer than I expected. How about that? Not what I want right now. So pulling back in S&P, rising in the dollar. Mm, all right, let's see how this goes. Broken, broken. So we're making lower lows. We definitely have lower highs. Right. We got this trend line now working. 306. Market internals. Remember this morning, it was all green, right? And then it started to gradually start to turn all red. Now even Africa is not red, except South Africa is the only one that's green. Market internals are not looking good. Let's see what it's looking like in a daily. And that's what I was saying, 2 days ago. That it's fine. It's broken out. Great. Let it run. But it's got to hold above that previous high. Otherwise, shit goes out the window. Come on. What's wrong with you? Let's go. Let's go. All right. So, market leaders are materials, consumer staples, utilities. Not what you want to see. Technologies in the middle, energy, real estate, financials at the bottom. That's okay. Last 5 days, it's looking fine on the 5 day. Not so much on a daily. I think here it's going to bounce. It's going to bounce here. So why do I think it's going to bounce? Well, again, remember that, with the volatility as low as it is, relatively speaking, that you're not going to get much more than a 1.5% move for the day. Now, if volatility was up in the 30s or 40s, then you would get 2.5, no problem, right? So you gotta anticipate that this is probably going to be the low for the day. You got a 1, 2, 3 in place. I don't think anybody can question that, right? 1, 2, 3, right? You're at previous highs here. This 12,677. You're at the support area of this trend line here. This upper wedge is correcting, that's for sure. Okay, so if it falls in, if it falls back in here and starts to fall apart, then you got bigger problems you know, than just being in wave three. Volatility should spike at that point. We are in this little void, gappy little area here. That's probably needs to fill. The point of control now is all the way up top from the bottom here. So I should change the color on this one because I'm getting confused. So the purple one is where the volume area starts to increase. So we can definitely come this low. We are at support area in several markets. This is what I mean. This is one. This one is fucked up. This one is breaking. New York Stock Exchange is right at support. Right. This one is breaking down. S&P long broke down. Small caps broke down, but it's coming into this support area. Transportation almost broken, not quite there yet. Germany at support. UK doing nothing. Forget about them. Japan is at support. Cosby sideways. Saudi is at support. Australia is at support. Brazil. Copa del Mundial. BRICS are at support. Precious metals at resistance. Dollars above 90 again. All right, let's see what it does. Let's monitor this bitch. So let's see. Let's see. What's the volume area from the top from today? We can measure that now. It's late in the day. So volume area is somewhere 12,725 ish. Remember, this is right in here is the void, right? We have that void. Let's see. Point of control from this point here. From the high. Yeah. Way below that too. Now remember that the dollar and the Nasdaq have a 3-to-1 ratio as of late. It used to be a little bit more than that, about 5.5 to 1. So for every 1% the dollar dropped, the market would rise 6%. All right, and that's from the bottom. And then from the recent low, it's been 3-to-1. So when you see a 1% move up or down in the dollar, then you'll get about 3% up or down move in NASDAQ. All right. And right now we're 0.23 up for the dollar, and the NASDAQ is down 0.62. Pretty close. Pretty close. So the question now becomes, what's the dollar going to do? Right? I think the dollar needs to push back a little bit more. Right? This is kind of like a bear flag here. Have one more down and then perhaps start to bounce from there. So that would push the markets higher. So that's bullish from that sense. One second. Okay, sorry about that. My daughter needed me. All right. All right, let's see how this is going to work out. 318 towards the low. Let's take a look at the monthly. I know it seems crazy, but let's take a look at it. All right, first of all, it's ridiculously straight up vertical, right? I mean, when you look at it from just this perspective, you're like, huh? It's a little funky, all right? Um, the other thing we're looking at is that, it still can pull back a little bit more. We are in a sideways move here, okay? Now, this is a breakout. You can't deny that there's a breakout there, okay? It's a nice little breakout, too. So even if we do break down in the NASDAQ, we can come down here, test it, and then off we go. All right, and then all this pressure in here, right in here, right, is going to turn into fuel on the upside. Although there isn't any shorts, so that's another problem. Okay, that's another problem. There's not a whole hell of a lot of shorts. Looking at it from a weekly, okay, and this is what I'm saying, that even if it breaks through, it's fucked up because you're still ending up with a bearish structure. No matter where it goes, you end up with a bearish structure out of this. Now, the bullish structure would be that it would stay in here for an extended period of time and then continue to grind higher, and that's okay. That's very doable. It's very doable. But the problem then you run into is that the earnings are not supporting that kind of movement, and the 10 years not supporting that kind of movement. Um, you start running into limits. Like you look at the, what am I doing here? Sorry, I pushed on the wrong button here. Uh, Not this. Where is it? Give me 1 second. No, not this one. There you go. So you start running into limits here, right? This is, it will continue to fall. And so how much can you rise? I understand it's a fucked up market, but to an extent, right? So that's the other problem. How much can it run based on that? Now it can run easily another 5% if the dollar falls another, about 2%. But again, you run into this bearish structure, no matter how you cut it. Shit. No matter how you cut it. Oh, come on. When it does that crazy shit, it makes me crazy. All right. You still run into this bearish shit. S&P. Let's look at it on a monthly. All right. It's still above the previous month's high. All right. You still have the same kind of consolidation here. Right. Popped out. Now it's following through a little bit from last week. So that's okay. Where the NASDAQ popped out this week. This one is just parabolic. Forget about it. On the small caps. On a weekly, you got the sell flag. All right. Needs to correct as well. Small caps. Vertical. See, the problem with small caps is when it starts going vertical like this, you start going into those Eiffel Towers. It goes straight up and then straight down. So, so the chasing is. Let's look at the Dow Jones. We can say it broke out here. Tried to follow through this week. Not doing a good job of it on a weekly. It's the same kind of structure, right? F flag needs to correct as well. Very funky. Very, very funky. I don't know. All right, there it is. There's that gap fill that we were talking about, that void coming down. Now the Nasdaq is down 0.84%, and the same for S&P, S&P, and small caps and Dow Jones. there goes the void. Sharp move, right? Textbook. Textbook. No volume there. Trying to bottom. This is now the new point of control down here in this area. What's the dollar doing? Nothing. S&P. Let's see if it breaks this. We're just marking this. This is not valid, okay? I just want to see how deep it goes past that. Oh, look at that, huh? You don't really want to go below this. Look at that void. Oh, that would be ugly. Ugly. Nasdaq have the same? Where the fuck? I'm lost. 15th. No, no, Nasdaq doesn't have it. It's only the S&P that does. How about the Dow? Oh, fuck. It won't show it. Yeah. Look at that move on the small caps, right? And these were the leaders for today. The small cap. Right. Oh, home builders turn flat. Defense is fine. Engineering, small caps are even going to turn red. Yeah. Yeah, make you dream. Well, it's not a dream, man. It shouldn't be up here to begin with. Again, think of it like a rocket on the launch pad trying to take off, and it's unable to do it. It's coming back down to earth. I don't think anybody can disagree with that, right? You're now below the previous high. Can't hold it. The wedgie structure below the structure has done what it's supposed to do, which is correct, right? It's a little bit sharp for my liking, but um, you know, it's coming back into the longer term structure. I don't think anybody can argue against that, right? That's why I said it's got to hold. If it doesn't hold, my friend Habibi, Michael Padro is gonna go. It will go, but we're not there yet. So, all right. So we're basically filling that void now, right in here. So we'll keep an eye on this. 30 minutes left to go in the trading session, right? So it's this void right here that created this little thrust down move. Build some volume and possibly start to correct. And the last 2 minutes, we've seen it how many times now? In the past couple months I've been doing this, right? You've seen the last 2 minutes do some crazy shit like that, and they'll come out with some tweet. We're closer to the stimulus, and it's like, okay, if you're a forward-looking mechanism, why are you selling if there's going to be a stimulus? Just so you can buy it up again? That's not very forward-looking. Take a look at the VIX. Right back up. All right. while we wait for this to make a decision what it wants to do, let me just go through the some stocks I have here. I want to see what the market is doing. So Starbucks is weakening through time. Occidental Petroleum is pulling back. ACB is pulling back. And take it to a daily. Applied Materials. American Tower, sorry. This one, Baidu, I had this for such a long time. I had marked it. Fucking thing just exploded 83% to the upside. So I hope somebody fucking took that because I didn't. So Nasdaq still hasn't made a new high, adjusted for the dollar. It's pushing towards the that support area. All right, well there goes the point of control for the second one, right? That secondary point of control. Let's see if it's momentarily or it stays there. I thought I had a point here. Yeah, there it goes. Yeah, market's not happy, that's for sure. All right, 340. It's not looking good for the bulls. And I don't mean on a 1 minute chart, of course. I mean for the longer term, right? It's not looking good. Not good. Not good at all. Well, Bulls better hope for that last 2 minute save to get back up above this area because nice long bars here. Um, Remember, from failed moves comes fast moves in the opposite direction. That's like a law. So if this fails here, this area fails here, back into structure, we're going way the fuck lower. And don't be surprised something like that happens because, Trump, he's on a fucking rampage, right? He doesn't give a shit about the American people. He never did. And he's not going to make it easier for Biden, that's for sure. He's a, man-child. And if Mnuchin is going to be a dick and not go against him and just kind of, figure out a way to get Mitch to strike a deal, this can get really ugly really fast because remember, with stimulus, the market is rolling over. And if that stimulus goes away, bye bye stock market. Bye bye. And we had said that back in October. I said, well, what is the likelihood that Trump is going to, because the polls were showing back then that Trump was losing. And I'm like, okay, what's the likelihood that, first of all, the Democrats are going to want to um, stimulate the economy going into elections? Not likely. Then, what's the likelihood that Trump is going to want to stimulate the economy for Biden in case he wins? Not likely. And now that Biden has won, what's the likelihood that Trump is going to want to, help the Democrats? Not likely, right? So if you look at it from that standpoint, from a political standpoint, you know, I don't think it's very likely they're going to do something. They keep coming on TV. They're like, well, we're not going to go home to our families until we get something done for the millions of American people. They're suffering out there for the millions. Both sides, huh? I'm not picking left or right. We got to get it done. And apparently, the sticking point is, they don't want corporations that's going to force people into, unhealthy situations, uh, force them to work and get COVID, and then you can't go sue them. So the Democrats are like, "Fuck you," if they do something wrong, then they should be sued, and then let the courts figure it out. And then the Republicans are like, "No, fuck that," we don't want that. So that's where they're hanging their hat on. Right, there's the bounce back up into that void. See how that void is starting to fill now? See it right in here? Starting to fill up. All right. So I think that's enough of a hook where we can now identify it. Okay, it's a falling wedgy looking pattern. All right, there you go. Small caps just bottomed out right at the bottom of this wedge. Trying to pop. All right, 12 minutes left to go in the trading session. All right, so the leading indicator came in slightly above, but it's still contracting, looking like shit. All right, same thing here. Still contracting. And remember, these numbers, as the weeks progress, they're going to start to weaken again. All right. We talked about weekly unemployment claims yesterday. Philly Fed manufacturing is expanding. Housing rolling over. Retail sales rolling over. Industrial production nothing. Empire State rolling over. A little bit of expansion there. What was that? All right, sorry about that. Inflation. Core PPI rolling over. There we go. Last 10 minutes to go in the trading day, of course. There he goes. What's oil doing? Yeah, see the dollar's starting to fade away, right? That's what we expected, that this will fade away a little bit. The fuck is oil? There it is. Dyslexic motherfucker. Pulling back a little bit. I wouldn't short this, but it's a little bit ahead of itself right now. All right, the void keeps getting filled slowly. I guess at this point it's not even really a void anymore. Okay. And there's a structure getting ready to fucking plow through right in the last couple minutes of trade. The usual, of course. Blah, blah, blah. With 7 minutes left to go. Look at it. How can you not laugh at this? I'm sorry. It's just, it's like fucking. I don't even, honestly, this it's like cheating. It doesn't even take any skills to fucking come up with this one. You know? Yeah. Zero skills whatsoever required. All day. All day has been grinding lower, and then the last 2 minutes. Oh yeah, I'm fine, my friend. I'm fine. It reminds me of the guy that always gets hit by a car, and there's always a shoe missing. He gets up. He's like, yeah, nothing happened, and he fucking limps away. So bad. So bad. It is funny. It is funny. It really is funny. It's a fucking joke. Zero skills required. Well, they got to save it, for the Bulls. I mean, let's be fair, right? They got to save that shit because if it goes back into structure, all hell's gonna fucking break loose. You don't want that shit. God forbid it goes down 0.5%. World can end tomorrow. And that's what the market has been doing. I mean, honestly, no, honestly, that's what the market has been doing, right? Um, Literally, it has been, it's designed for stupid people. That's, I don't think anybody can argue about that, right? And what's awesome is that the little memes, the little sound bites. Uh, People think that's what it means, that this is normal. They don't get that it's not normal. Wee! Go, 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 go. Coming back up to the point of control, and to be fair, because I'm not fair any other time. It's just this one time that I say that I'm fair. I hate people that say that shit. To be fair, it's 1, 2, 3 down, right? It was a wedgie looking pattern. We did identify it and turn this red. Once it hooked up, it was in the middle, right? So that's a 1, 2, 3 up, and then boom, into the close. But again, zero skills required into the close. Zero fucking skills required, honestly. Just come in and buy like a 10.45. I'm sorry, 10. Ugh, at 3.45. And I promise you, if you did that for the past 9 months, you're probably richer than Warren Buffett. Probably. Yeah. Nobody wants to go short. God forbid. It used to be when I was a younger person that nobody wanted to go long into the weekend. you know? Because you're like, oh shit, I don't know what's going to happen over the weekend. Meteorite might hit. And now, God forbid you go fucking selling into the weekend. You fucking crazy? And miss out on that gap up that's going to happen on Monday morning? Fuck that. I'm not missing that. I'm buying. See the problem? It's a big fucking problem right there, big guy. People have lost their fucking mind. Look at it. Look at it. 1 minute left in the trading session. Look. Everybody's running. FOMO. Go, 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 go. Buy, 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 buy. Fuck. Fuck, fuck, fuck. Buy, 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 buy. Buy. We're going to miss the gap up on Monday. Buy. Fucking idiots. I can't wait till the day comes until they get fucking smacked down, ape raped, violated in every orifice of their body. It's going to be epic. All right. There it is. There's the close. I'm sorry. Yeah. Somebody's gonna get fucking clown raped. I'm telling you, it's gonna come. They're gonna be clown raped. And then I'll be like, remember that one day I was laughing and I was saying everybody's gonna be clown raped. Look at him now. All right, so that's it. Down 0.14 for the Nasdaq. S&P down 0.18. Small caps. Uh, they actually stayed a little bit towards the negative end. Now remember, small caps were up significantly today. All right, and they collapsed 1.52, which is a normal 1.52. Up or down with a volatility of 20 whatever. Uh, look at that. Look at the VIX. Boom, collapsed, collapsed. Yeah. Right. So we still have the rounding bottom there. Okay. So we still have the rounding bottom there. It hasn't completely gone away, but you know, again, this is utter fuckery, right? So let's just kind of go through everything, see how it ended up for the week. Maybe I should do this on a weekly. All right, let's do it on a weekly. All right, so here's where we are. We're stuck right up against this resistance area. It's closed at this level in the equal-weighted S&P 3 weeks in a row. All right. On the dividend-weighted ETF, they're selling that bitch off. They don't care about it. They want something Momo. VIX we talked about. Now, New York Stock Exchange did make a higher close. All right, so that's good for them. Um, on a daily, it popped up. Right, it was at support. It popped up. Dow Jones down 0.38, the weaker of all the indexes, but again, it's trying to go back into structure. It's trying to hold on. Probably at this point, and I think I'll do it for next week. It's probably an expansion. Okay, it's just an expansion. So we'll go like this into the week, into next week. All right. S&P 500 weekly. Fuck, I can't even see with all the drawings over there. Closed above the previous week's high. Same thing with Nasdaq. So it's doing good. All right. So the bulls are still on. Let me go a little bit deeper on that. So the bulls are still good. Right. And we talked about it today all day. All right. That it had to hold here. It had to. You come back into structure, everything starts to collapse. So we held. We're actually above the point of control now. We don't need this anymore. Okay. I'll say it again. I didn't say it publicly, but I'll say it now. That if this does continue as it should, all right, and this is just a consolidation before pushing higher. If this does occur, then what we're expecting is that the first target is going to be about 13,364. About that. Okay. And don't forget, if you want to know how I came up with that, you got to watch the video yesterday. And that to do that, you got to subscribe. Come down to patreon.com/RealMacro, and I'll explain to you why. All right. So that's okay. Small caps, nice move to the upside. Okay, it's still holding um, fine on the uptrend. Transportation's a little bit rolling over. We'll see what it does next week. IPO continues to push higher. The FAGs ended up sideways. I think how many weeks now? 1, 2, 3, 4, almost 5, 6 weeks going sideways. Europe, the catch-up play, right? Filled the gap. That's okay. It's looking good. It's a breakout. It's a breakout from here. UK sideways. Germany above the previous resistance area. That's fine. Denmark really kicking ass all over the place. World Stock Market Index kicking ass. Jets. Look for Jets next week to possibly start to push. All right. It is still correcting, but I think at some point it's too tight for this to go much further. It's too tight. So this is going to need to pop up. All right. From the high, just to kind of measure it, from the high, it's about 7%. That's good enough for the bulls to step in again, right? Push it up. Skip this one. We're still waiting for this one to really push higher. This is the fangs of China. Nifty 50 is getting a little bit ahead of itself. Japan has to figure out what it wants to do. Taiwan will probably pop. Maybe a little bit more to the downside. Korea probably pop. Saudi is going to pop. Australia, you know, I guess at this point it's kind of doing this. So let's adjust it. Let's see what this is going to do next week. Brazil grinding higher. Emerging markets are doing fine. BRICS are they bounced. Okay, so that's good. Financials pulling back some more. All right. Oil 49. You know, it's got about $1 left in it at least. But again, you don't want to be buying there. You don't want to be shorting it either. Okay. Gold. Okay, still waiting to push a little bit higher. Silver did okay today. Commodities really kicking ass, right? Really kicking ass. Copper kicking ass. You know, agriculture. You know, again, I'm going to say it. If this starts to push a little bit higher, you're going to be hearing a lot of people screaming and bitching. Okay, because they're going to start feeling it in their uh, supermarket bills, and they're going to think it's end of the world. Bitcoin, I think this is going to continue to push higher at this point. 27,000 is the target, then 30,000, then 36,000. Okay. Stay away from the Litecoins and all these things. If you get a Ripple breakout, here, you want to take it. All right. This is a beautiful setup, right? It's a 1, 2, 3 kind of. It's a backwards look at 1, 2, 3, but it's a 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, because it broke out here. This is the way it was initially, right? So it's a 1, 2, 3 down. Okay. Then it expanded. Okay, fair enough. It expanded, right? So then you end up with a 1, 2. Okay, but still it touched down here. So it's a little bit backwards, but it's good enough for government work. How about that? All right, let's look at the dollar here. All right, dollar needs to probably correct a little bit more. Okay, and then look for a bounce if there's going to be a bear move. All right. Problem is that this is a bearish structure, and not only is it a bearish structure, but it's a valid bearish structure. See it? 1, 2, 3. All right. So look for more downside next week. All right. It's a smaller bear flag than the previous ones, but nonetheless it is bearish. All right. U.S. dollar, Japan. I'm not going to really comment on these. They're just waiting to see what the dollar is going to do. That's it. All right. Yeah. I mean, they're just doing whatever they're doing. There's nothing there. Now, what we want to see is we want to see this one push through. For the bulls, they want to see this one push through. Okay. It's a structure above a structure. This should push higher, and then you end up with a cup and handle within a cup and handle. Okay, so this is the cup right here. Okay, here's the handle. Here's another handle cup. All right, and finally this is going to break out. which is not good. It's not good. All right. And that's about it. All right. Um, yeah. For the Royal Caribbean cruise liners, blah blah blah. Remember, nobody gives a shit that they're not gonna make money. These are zombie companies, but they are a catch-up play company. As long as they can make their next month minimum payment, it's a buy. That's how stupid the market is, right? It came back into structure. Um, you had the cup and handle broke out, not doing a good job. It's correcting, but at some point it will probably do something like this. All right, Norwegian, it's kind of double topping. This is probably more bearish, and same thing with this one. But you see, it didn't pull back. It didn't pull back.